guys, here I'm going to tell you of the plan that I believe, well, more like what I know that Christians they have it, which is what I like to tell you here, that Christians this plan they have it. It's only because they had to wait for that one who had it so that they can know the plan, because for them to know that plan it means that they had to be me, because that is why they did not know the plan, but they were expecting this plan that I'm about to tell you here. And this plan here, it is actually what I call the knowledge of the heavens, when I asked our Heavenly Father and then He answered me through these ones, which is part of the proof that I can bring forward, or that I'm bringing forward, because these are my new idea plans under my new businesses that I'm going to register. And so here I am actually going to be your programmer in this whole life journey that you are going to be traveling. And so since here I am the Omega here, Omega from Alpha, I ended up being given some stuff that can show you in a realistic form. Like now, there's this new idea plan under my business that I'm going to register. Since when you register a business, you have to know what your business is going to be about. And so now, what happened here is that this part of a solar. You see this thing of solar. I'm going to make it as electricity for the whole globe. And so since it is like this part of solar, I'm going to put 2 screens there, more than 2 screens, but necessarily those 2 screens, there will be 2 types of screens. It will be of a plastic and of a glass. So solar, I'm going to direct it directly to the sun, taking it out of the planet Earth. So when I take it out of planet Earth, it's going to be a glass and a plastic, which is for a bully and fake. So fake is for fake women and all those kinds of stuff. But so when that thing is monitored, there is going to be this thing of resources, how they are going to be used. So the way they'll be used, it has to be used carefully, noticing that you have to save glass and plastic, because the point for that thing is for it to fill up the whole of the planet sun, of the sun itself. So the sun itself, as we know, it is bigger than the other planets that are bigger than planet Earth. And these materials, we are getting them from planet Earth. So even plastic itself, it will range around 10 rand when you return it, even if it's scrapped there. As long as they see it is a full plastic, they won't even mind to buy it with 10 rand plus, because it is those kinds of measurement for the whole globe. Because the more what I have there is, the more it is easier to avoid all the obstacles that are around there. And so since they're on that thing, I'll be basically alone. I will decrease it so that the whole group can feel like they are saving when they come to my electricity supply. Even this thing that I'm also alone, it is just those kinds of stuff. But I will be reasonable there, because electricity is something that can also be used in cars. So cars also, it will also decrease their fuel consumption along with the trucks. So basically through the sun, here's how that material is going to be used. So that black and that silver material is put it in a glass or plastic. It is going to pile up and become too much. I don't know how much they can use it if they overused it on one glass or one plastic, knowing that we don't want to waste, making it thinner as if we have too much glass and too much plastic around it. So what is going to happen is that the more it is done like that, is the more from the sun it is going to come to those other planets. So those other planets, when it is coming to them, it is going to be this thing that there's first planet, second planet, and then there's the other planet. So that glass, it will just accommodate those ones and make a hole inside, so that those planets there, they don't get filled. It will just be filled up until it comes, I don't know, to the whole universe coming from the sun. So that is how that solar can be occupied around there. That is how I'm going to occupy it. So there I'm going to use the founders, the real founders of those kinds of stuff, the creators, because it is their last tender on those ones. But there I'm going to hire them, though I have 0 rents in my account, because it is something that even the economy, they can see I'll pay them back. There I don't literally believe I'll have problems when I have to have fundings, as if I have to pay out shares, except for maintenance stuffs. So what is going to happen there? Here's the architecture of that thing. When it's coming from the sun there, when it comes from the sun, there will be a cable, right? That cable, when it comes, it will come directly from the sun there, because it will be near enough to the sun, knowing that it does not have to be too close that that plastic and that glass gets burned by the sun, but it has to be close enough. Knowing that it has to be also bulletproof, so that the stones and the rocks, so I'll be having those weapons that will be able to shoot all around the stones, the rocks that will come to it and break it. But at the same time, there's no much need, because of there's a satellite that was always operating for the entire centuries, you know. So it will never make sense why my staffs got bothered there by the staffs of the astronauts out of the blue, you know, all of a sudden. It is those kinds of staffs. So even security, they are apply their help there from those, so that it can make sense why those things got damaged there, because it can never make sense. So when that cable comes, it will come to from the sun coming to the South Pole. So when it comes to the South Pole, it will be having a metal all around it, so that that cable does not have zigzags as if it is a snake. So it has to be straightened. When it is straightened like this, there's it was going to be put inside a hard metal, so that that metal prevents the ups and downs of that cable, knowing that that solar, it is held there, like the satellite is held in the air. That metal, when it comes to the South Pole there, it is going to reach the South Pole. When it reaches the South Pole, it's going to be digged underground, so that even if it blasts coming from the icy side, so that it does not do anything much, because it already experienced the cold weathers and the waters from those sides. But when it reaches there, that thing, for it to rotate, it will be sensing there from the sun, as the planet rotates the sun, as well as the planet itself rotating all around by itself for day and night. So it will be rotating 2 times, rotating facing the sun, all around the sun for those ones of years, and then rotating the planet because of these ones of days. So it's going to have 2 rotating stuffs. That way it is functionable. That cable inside, it is just standing there. That metal is the one that is rotating, while the cable is standing inside. So the metal outside, even those mechanics outside that will be standing there, they are the ones that will be sensing and rotating in time with those stuffs. And so when it is like that, those are my 2 screens. So the fake and the police, yeah, you are actually it is this thing that you are next to hell now. So it is that solid proof that you can see that indeed, yes, it is something that has been approved, because this is something that was given to me by the first God as my reward, since I have saved the angels that have fallen, which are the fathers of the giants. The reason why Noah's flood came across, the reason why Noah was named Noah by the other man named Enoch, whom this judgment, he did not manage to carry it out, and it ended up being handed to me, which is this one that I'm handing. That is why you see yourselves being that close, because those ones, they have been saved. It is me whom they have approved, that you have been approved to become the one who will decide who's going to hell or not, which is Omega. And so leaving that part of a solar, so I'll be actually competing with the supplies, the power supplies of all these sorts of kinds of stuff. Even gas, electricity can come out as fire as it is burning, as you switched it on there. So it is going to come out even stronger, having that potential of a gas, even stronger than a gas. So it will be that thing, that even those things that melt metals, because it is those things that will be used, because there will be too much worse. I'll also be applying those stuff, because electricity can come out as fire, same as it will be flying, rockets that will be flying, and jets that will be flying, if they ever were to use batteries and electricity, those kinds of stuff. So even the petrol station, it will be off electricity, where it is fast charging your thing there, and then it does not take too long that it has to, like the fuel is pouring fuel or diesel inside your moving vehicle or your vehicle or wherever you'll be pouring it. So it will be those time estimations there. So coming to this one of volcano. Volcano is actually one of the minerals that are actually wasted. So I'm going to mine volcano as an electric supply. So this one of a solar, it will be a backup that will come after volcano has actually ran out. So volcano, I actually use it as a coal supply. So when I use volcano as a coal supply, it is that thing that volcano is going to be mined. So it will never make sense that volcano does not make coal, because it is fire, and since it is fire, the heat, as long as it matched is heat, temperature, and all those stuff, because coal is fire. So as long as I have a good supply of fire, then it is a pass, which is that thing there. Because that thing, even if you do this thing, you can still feel its heat. So you can't say that that heat is inside as if it is a chip. You have to put your finger inside so you can feel it, because it is fire that day. Sometimes you cannot say those kinds of stuff, because it is the same thing as a coal. You'll just be playing with my mind. You get me? That is why it is those days that I know that these days that the prayers that were answered for those that were having problems here, because it is those things that were happening here as part of the proof that I had to supply here, which is something that you cannot literally argue about. And so in all the branches of all the volcanoes, it will be my branches all over around here. I'm also along there, so I'll start with that one of a volcano, because it is a huge problem to our planet here. So since I'm going to start with it, I'll find guys who will help me. Well, they can already find themselves, so that that mining of volcano comes to pass. It is that thing when I asked of the knowledge of the heavens, it is that thing that the knowledge of the heavens that they gave me is the same thing that we already had. It is only because of it still counts because of it is education, you know. Volcano, mining volcano is the same thing as electricity, because it is still doing the same thing as a solar. But me, when I asked of the knowledge of the heavens, it is this thing that I was asking of something that we did not literally have, though it is still the same thing. More like they did not want to answer, though they showed that they wanted to answer, but more like there is no need. But it is those kinds of stuffs like I asked of the knowledge of the heavens, which is what they already did give me there. Same as when I asked of Eden. So it is those kinds of stuff that you do not expect to see them happen in life in front of your face, so that you do not argue about those lines there. And so after those parts of volcanoes and electricity supply, so even the ships, all those moving vehicles, I'll make my electric supply very cheap enough so that they can all be accommodated there. Plus, it will be these things of coming to one insurance, you know, you'll be having a car and electric supplies from your household, so it will be this thing of a combo by itself that I obviously have to minus it, because I have customers from all these various fields here, besides just minusing it, because of I want to actually accommodate myself into those groups that actually supply fuel consumptions to all those moving vehicles there. So it is those. So I'll be minusing it quite a lot. It will do go down. So but it will be those things that I have to be reasonable. But otherwise they will go down, that you feel like you are really saving. And then to the oceans I'm going to use the help of our science there, and the help of there's science, and there are these other groups that can help with those things besides the military, so that they can grow. And then so it will be this thing that their fertilization, it will grow even faster, even better, they'll become even stronger. So there, me, what I'm going to do there, all those guys that can help me to increase all those things there. So what is going to happen here, I'm actually going to start a new business there in the oceans there of the fishes. So the fishes, there will be my frogs. I'm in the forest also. So the bullies of the oceans, the bullies of the forest, like I asked of Eden, and I asked the knowledge of the heavens. The knowledge of the heavens is the one that corrected me, that Eden that you asked of, that the bullies of the oceans and of the forest be taken out. It is this thing that you have to have it to yourself, and not leave it to them, and not sell it as an idea plan for businesses, but make it your new idea plan for a new business that you are going to create. So the whole oceans, the whole rivers, crocodiles, and all those stuffs are they are the stuff that I'm going to actually take out here, so that my crops they can grow, and my flocks they can grow. So all the ocean food companies that are there, they are going to buy my ocean food, the sushis, all the fish with scales, all the universal stuffs there that are in the oceans there and in the forest there. left scattered, there's private, public, and left scattered. So left scattered is that one in the ocean, underwaters. Left scattered is that one of the forest. And then you see that thing. That thing is actually this thing of because my seeing here, it ended up scanning since it was this thing of two races. So it got through that thing of the movement of EFF when they kick, since they are intending to kick the whites because of those three lines, those are Table Mountains, Prouds, and all those kinds of stuff. So this thing here on it, it was this proof that since there was this things that you do not know how those other ones, they say, hey, me, I got this one from my grandfather, and then you ask yourself, hey man, how can you say you got this thing from your grandfather, man? Where are you actually coming from? You know, those kinds of stuff. So it is that thing to prove to you that all those unexplainable explanations, some of them, that is how they came across on those paths there. That is why also the oceans and the forest, I'm going to occupy it. And private, public, I'll be working with them because I'll be starting to stock. So when I stock, I'll stock all the flocks that I need there. So even in the oceans, I'll be having military patrolling all around so that there's no life ruined. Like it will be busy in the oceans there'll be departments, managers, different managers for different various kinds of roles all around there. So the Marines, they'll no longer be fighting. I don't expect any fightings there. Yeah. And then it will be those kinds of measures taken. So the lions and the crocodiles, all those things, I will actually sell them, and then I will also make a universal zoo. Some of them I'll sell them to Ushaka Marine World. So yeah, it is those kinds of stuff there, because those things there, they are actually killing you. So me, I'm actually going to start my business there because those things, they were left like this, you get me? So it is that same thing that is why you cannot actually argue about it, because that is how these things happen all around there. That is how a business actually involves. That is an entrepreneurial skill, which is a reward that God gave me because I saved the fallen angels with the giants. That is why you can also hear that it is indeed the truth of what happened, because you have your own way of seeing this. That is why I also had to correct you so that you can indeed see what I'm saying. Don't worry. As long as you go to the fallen angels story there, I did write them there. Yeah, I did make their topics. And then coming to this thing of floods. Floods, what you need to do is that wherever there are floods is wherever you have to create dams, because wherever the floods come in is wherever there is a dam. That is why when that flood comes in and it gets filled up, it has to go to the prescribed places as a dam. So wherever there are floods, as long as you apply the procedure of dams so that rivers can flow to the communities, then there will no longer be floods. As for winds, strong winds, we have to have gigantic vegetation. Gigantic vegetation, besides gigantic vegetation, you have to have too much vegetation so that it limits the strength of the wind when it is blowing your roofs or people that are passing around. So the more the trees is, the weaker the wind would become. So when we have gigantic trees, is that thing that Keynes and has actually been welcome, because gigantic trees and gigantic vegetation, besides vegetation being brought back to the community, is that thing that it will drop the economy's currency automatically. It will become better, because when they are gigantic, they'll go straight to the clouds. It's only because of we'll monitor them that they don't have to cross the clouds, but the good distance that we know there's no need for them to go ahead, because it is a maximum. So to the maximum limit that we know, they don't have to literally touch the clouds. So on that side, when it is raining, it's going to become a floody rain, because the rain would have changed. And coming to this side of landslide also, we create a big wall like that one of China to avoid that land from sliding there. But we need something like you see those gigantic trees, when they have roots, even trees when they have roots, the earthquakes and all those things, they'll be blocked by those pillars underneath the ground, those pillars of the roots and all those things that will be doing, because it is not a stable foundation. That's why you'd see sometimes a pool would move a bit. It's because it wants more force. You cannot expect to, it is those kinds of stuff that you cannot expect to literally build it, like the houses that are not exposed to those natural disasters, places that are around there. Same way as applying to the desert. So to the desert is where I'm actually going to start my new idea plan under my business. besides the agriculture of the hand of cane being brought back here, it's going to be my agriculture in the community, and it's going to start from the cities going all across down there. And when it does that, those falls, they don't have to be gigantic enough that when they fall from top to the sky, they kill a human or one of my flocks there, because I'll be having gigantic kettles and gigantic fishes. As long as they are not, even if they are, I know, you see a fish, even if it is so gigantic, as long as you have a knife and stab it, because it does not have tooth, it don't do anything to you, it will run away eventually. So it is those kinds of stuff that even if it become gigantic to those extents, they are still fine. Otherwise, there will be too much of frozen veggies that even in the fridge they cannot even fit in, and those ones in the fridge they stayed for a long time. That is why the colors will eventually go down. And so to the desert, since it is a land that is left scattered, one of the lands that is left scattered, I'm going to create dams there. So rivers, when I create them there, I'm going to cement them and not make them too deep that no one drowns there. Just rivers enough, too many rivers, just a good distance enough that you just place around here if you are inside of it, yeah, those kinds of measures. And then that way it will be even wider all around the deserts. So all the deserts, they'll be having dams made and all those kinds of stuff. And then after a year or a couple of years, those deserts, they'll come back to life. And then me, myself, I'll go and sell those things to the people that will be buying the lands. Because it is my business side there. That is why those things, when they are like that, it is me who's going to eat there. That is why I say private, public, and left scattered. So there I eat alone. That is why it is this thing that the heavenly God, he announced me as a king. That is why even if you refused or not, you still see that indeed I am a king. You are just arguing. So it is those kinds of things that I'm going to still prove here in this video here. With this minute, as long as it doesn't cut out, but I can still cut to the other one. Don't worry, I'll be able to identify how it went along, but it should fit in all here. And so to those deserts, all those things they'll come across. I'll study at those standards of a high luxurious standard, so that it costs. And so when it is like this, there'll be life all over there. And then to the oceans, they actually have to actually limit, so that when they limit themselves like this, they'll be limited. When they limit themselves, they'll be limited to those gigantic vegetations. And so when they are limited to that gigantic vegetation, they are actually able to say freely in the oceans there, because 75+% of the ocean will be minus, even if it is, it's still fine, but yeah, it will be, because of the big gigantic, it is the space that is above the clouds there, and the waters in the oceans, they don't even cross the clouds. For them to come here and pile up here and kill us, is because of the land has to crack or something, it won't just come up because we are a bit higher. That is why they are even able to stand wherever they are and not bother us, because they are not that much, though the water is too much. You get me? Yes. And so when it is like that, with the volcanoes and all those stuff happening, there won't be tectonic plates. They won't move all around it, because there will be less heat moving all around here. So on that one of the oceans, I don't literally have to have a funding, because there are ocean food companies that are eating there. And when it is like this, because I'm going to stock for those things, which is what they ran out, what they should have said before. Since they did not come with that thing, them they are just taking them. So it is the same thing that theirs, it extincted. So since it extincted, me, I'm stocking in mind. You cannot tell me that what, because of it is something that it is already my business side. Your business will still continue, but what you're going to do is that you're going to buy from me, literally. And so since you're going to buy from me, literally, all those fundings, they start there from the ocean, from the forest, as I'll be selling those bully animals of the ocean and of the forest. In the sky, I'll just decorate their beauty and their looks, those kinds of stuff. I'll just see how I play around it, but the pigs, they'll be busy eating all those waste and all those stuffs. So plastic, it will actually be less, because of it is the reason why we are having that all around here. So it will be those kinds of measures that I'm doing there. And then so it is that thing that here I actually say to you that now, since you already had, you are basically stealing my stuff there. So since you are stealing my stuff there as I'm busy standing here, it is this thing that as they're listening, you don't have to take my stuff there. I don't literally have to go to court and say stop taking my stuff there since I have 0 rent while you don't know my bank account. Those things are the things that you actually have to direct those payments to my account. So when you direct those payments to my account, I don't actually have to I don't know, say me myself I'm going to go absent because already the law, they already know that you are already stealing from me there. So since you're already stealing from me, I don't have to do anything there. Me, I'll just be sitting and fold it like this. I'll come when they come, I'll go where they say I should go, but there's nothing I have to do there because they already had everything. There's nothing that I have to do there. All I just have to do is sign and do all those stuff because that is not what I have to do. All I have to do is to sell my business and all those stuff because it is the role that my guys said I have to do. And since this is the role that they have to do, they obviously know that I obviously paid. I have more like, there are too many companies, ocean baskets, you can name them. So many that are eating because of those stuffs there. As I'm busy staying in the shacks here. Yes, as I'm busy staying in the shacks here. But I won't literally have that much, too much argument because that is why you just had it now. But it is those kinds of measures all around there. And then coming to this part of Lotto and Lotto Plus. So here on Lotto and Lotto Plus, there's this thing that you see, there's this thing of fighting and racing. So I'll be having 50 cars to race and 50 or 100 opponents to fight. So that ring of fighting, it will be the same stadium as a soccer stadium. So those guys, they'll be having a ring that is bigger like that grass that you'll be seeing when you are playing soccer. And so when it is like that, you'll be able to see them. So they'll start from junior instead of professional because there everyone will just be fighting them, which is that thing that will be gambling there, which is that thing that it is a new way of rings. So there'll be boxing, kickboxing, and all those kinds of stuff there. Even the racing, street racing, all the racing. So basically there I'll need the head of Lotto there because it's still the same thing. It's just that it is a different scenario, but it's still the same case because I have 50 opponents. So on fighting I can have 100 opponents, it's still fine. But I think it plays around 50. There's nothing wrong with it. Cars go 50 cars racing there. The roads that will happen here, I'll have 10 plus roads going one direction. So in the community, it will just be this thing of 4 plus roads going one direction, unlike in the national roads. So that way there will be an unlimited speed. Traffic, when it has a problem with you, is when you have 18+% alcohol inside your body. So basically you'll be advised to buy those things to test your alcoholic percentages inside you. So even when the racing cars race, they race freely. Even now they can race freely and no problem at all because of the roads. Now this business, it is something that is going to be in line, a gambling that is going to be in line. That is why it is actually something that is going to pass, and then the militaries, they will be there to show you that here you don't pass here, you can use that other road because these guys here, they are doing their things because I'll be paying tax and I'll be paying security. Even for those ocean staffs, I won't pay a specific security. I'll pay all this dope for security. I'll pay tax for the whole dope. I'll pay security for the whole dope so that I actually know what happened there on my oceans there. What actually is that thing that actually I don't know to my things there just because I had a different security. So basically you'll all be watching yourselves on those kinds of stuff there. And to these ones of rhinos, as I'll be busy cleaning the forest and all those kinds of stuff, I'll actually be those rhinos, I'll make them gigantic because they're all forests like gigantic. Even grass itself of the forest and trees of the forest, they'll be gigantic. Woods, we'll store them on those other planets there. We'll just dig them, put them underground, put some oil so that they don't age. It is those kinds of measures because there'll be quite a lot, but it is those kinds of measures, because electricity, it will be too much. There's no need for you to do those stuff unless you just want to make a bonfire outside. That's why it is still going to be controlled precisely and taking them to those other sites. So we'll have big spaceships to transport them and transfer them to those other sites. So those rhino horns, I'll actually sell them. I would do sell them because those things, they are stuff that are healing others from cancers and all those various kinds of diseases. So me, I'm going to legalize that thing. When I legalize those things, those rhinos, I am going to take care of those rhinos. And you can't ask me which budget, because of there I don't have to have a budget. Those things, they already have their own, but I just sell, you get me? So I'm going to start a business under rhinos and all those kinds of stuff. And then after that, those kinds of stuff, they be in line. And so here is this thing that I'm actually looking at. This one of me being a king. You see the thing about this system. Me here, I was crowned by God. To me, he did not literally talk that I could hear him, but there's this video that I'll tell you how those incidents happen. But it is those kinds of things that it mostly happen with instinct stars. But sometimes, though it happened with instinct stars, I know that I was right. Like, you just know, and then when you get there, you find that thing there. You get me? As if you saw it. You get me? It's just those kinds of stuff. That is why I won't literally dwell too much into those kinds of topics. Otherwise, since this system is the one that is actually fucking us up, so this thing, it ended up going to this part of who is actually owning that money mineral. So that mineral of money, there's no one who's owning that thing. Literally, it is that thing that everyone, it is this thing of every individual. Wherever that thing of money is basically, so for this, is basically created, right? So so for that, so wherever this thing of money is created, so on that part of money, me becoming the ruler of that thing of money, since it is that thing of money, me, I won't mind to give you 100 million rand, each of you, or 1 billion rand, each of you, because when I'm a king, all these things here, they are all mine. And since all these things here, they are all mine, it is this thing that to this kingdom, all these things that are around, you don't have to suffer. Those things, you leave them here and they'll still be here. Nothing will ever run out in this place here. You get me? So that is the vibe of my kingdom, that here nothing will ever run out. We'll always have more than enough here. Trees, they'll always grow, they'll always be vegetated. These things, they'll always come out. Always. And so me, because of those things, because I know those things, they don't age. So there's this new business which I know you'll actually have a problem with it, but it is this thing of directing money. So my business is this business of directing money. I direct money, since no one ever said that part. I direct money. When I direct money, I direct it to wherever I want it to go. So money, it always goes whenever it is used. So as long as they did not cut that money or ban it, ruin it, instead of just buying with it, then my business is doing well. That is why even if you are caught doing those tasks, it becomes a problem. That is why the business of money is malfunctioning, though it is functioning. Though that is why it is underperforming, because of those kinds of stuff there. But when these things are like this, to me, you cannot literally say you can just become a king and don't expect to hold that thing. You rather let go. You get me? Yeah, I won't literally nag you with those stuffs. I was suggesting, I was telling you what you have to know about what the heavens already want you to know. You get me? I don't like to tolerate these things of Samsung and Delilah. This thing of me proving myself as if there's a need to. They really, really annoy me. Those things, they just stick me here. So now, what is actually happening here? Me, when I become a king, I will give you 100 million rands, each of you. Those ones that are at foster plan, but there will be those ones that won't literally get those amounts because of they'll be under 15 years. Not under 16 years, but under 15 years. When they're under 15 years, it is because of when they get it, they'll get it because of they have lost their parents. But when they've lost their parents, if it is one parent, if it is one parent having one kid, it is going to be divided by 2. But if those kids, they are many at that one parent, that full amount for that one parent, which is that 1 billion rent, or that 100 million rent, it will go to that to those kids if they are all together there. But if both parents passed away, then and then we have one kid there for both of those parents, it is going to be divided by 2 and be given to that kid alone. But if both of those parents passed away and they had a couple of kids, more than one kid, nothing there, it is going to be divided there. As long as it is more than one kid, nothing there is going to be divided. They'll get that money there, and then when it is divided, it will be divided amongst them, not before it came out. It will come out in full and divided there, unless the child is alone. That is why it is going to be divided there before it comes out. Great. And so it is those kinds of measures, because here there's nothing, man. You'll always go ups and downs here. Otherwise, guys, don't fear anything. Those amounts, you will get them, ne? It will be you who says you don't want to get them. It will be you, because here is how you're going to get them, which is part of the proof that indeed I did receive the knowledge of the heavens. Here is how you're going to get them. When you vote for me, well, it's fine if you belittle me that much, because I won't tolerate those shit of you expecting me to entertain you so that you can be impressed, so that you can choose me. If you don't want to, it's fine. Me, I'm here for a yes or no. Don't ask me about me. I don't do those stuff, ne? So now here's what is going to happen here. Ne? As long as you raise your hands and you vote, start this thing of saying you don't want this system that is happening here. You want to change the system. When you change the system, whomever, it does not matter. Whomever, everything that is happening around it is happening because of your will. So for the fact that I know all of you here will not have a problem with 100 million rands being given to your account, because those guys, they were just being voted for and giving you nothing and promising you when the votes are about to happen, and then after that they make you forget after a couple of months. Me, before I step in, it will be this thing that it is the policy of my kingdom. When I step in, I give 100 million rand in cash. So it is going to go to that place where you get the returns of tax. So it will be authorized, however, initiated, but it will be tax-free. So that we get all those things in line. Forensics evidence, medical evidence, fingerprints, all together for your identity, which will be your visa identity for the whole group here. And so it will be under my kingdom, which will be having its own flag. You know these things how they can go, but this is how this thing has to happen. And then, after that way, we know that all around here, you are free enough to go and walk wherever you want to go. Because you got your height, your urine, your feces, your blood, your cells, your claws, everything, even your hair. That is why it will never make sense that you are not a citizen of this existence, which is my kingdom. Great. This thing is just standing alone there, man. But I already talked about it. And so, yeah, since it is like this, that is how all these things here, they will actually be happening. I'll be starting, so basically in my kingdom is a kingdom of peace, whereby there won't be fightings and all those things around here in this thing. So we'll be having security for us here as the globe in the spaces there. So we'll start a new military formation, good enough for the whole planet Earth, referring to the number of militaries that we have around here inside this globe. So basically it has 2 times there, 3 times, 4 times. But there will be a unique way that I'll be doing it, because I'll be using robots too much there as a security. So even the nucleus, they'll be installed somewhere outside the planets there, being able to say, I'll install so much. There will be so much things that I'll be doing. Is nucleus, they'll be there for a backup to cover us whenever we have all those things that will be happening in our lives whenever we are experiencing problems. So the militaries, it will be this thing that will be exploring in the spaces there to check what else is it there that is going forward with us. You get me? Because forward we go with them and not without them. So if it is without them, it is this thing that we already know what that thing is all about, unless they do not literally have a problem with us, which means they'll be going with us just that they'll be doing their own thing there, not what is ours. Because this is our one and only home, which is this planet Earth. As you are busy fighting these ones that have to actually protect and defend it from all those other odds that are happening all around here. So there'll be boys cool, girls cool. That vibe of apartheid, it will come back. Kids will always go to school. There'll be ways that I'll be dealing with this whole thing all around here. Otherwise, you'll know how to respect a good person. You love to be a coward, and you love to be a fool. Don't ask me how. You don't literally have to understand, but those are the things that you have to be aware of when I'm around there. And so even that kingdom flag, it will be this flag that it will be having this vibe of South African flag, like it is having a combination of all those that are associated all around it here. And so since it is like that, all those things right there, they'll fall into line. Yeah, and then yeah, so it will be those kinds of stuffs there. I think I already said more than enough that I had to tell you here. Otherwise, it is those kinds of stuffs that were answered when the knowledge of the heavens was granted to me. And so since those things are the ones, I don't think there's other stuffs that are actually left behind here. But otherwise, yeah, it is those kinds of stuffs. And if there's any further update from those ones, you will know of it. But here I already told you enough about those stuffs here. Yeah. So there on this one of a kingdom, you just go there and you vote. So basically me, I'll be giving you those amounts because of you are fighters. You're always fighting for your whole life. You deserve it. These are your rewards. So you end it. That is why I'll also be thanking you for. Don't worry, man. Me, I'm loose here. It's just that I don't like it when I'm made to feel like a coward or a fool just because I was too good to watch, you know, and then they think I did not see what I was doing, you know, or I don't have boundaries or limits. Otherwise, here we do not have a reason to suffer. Here, billionaires, trillionaires, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no resource that is going to run out here. As long as we know that my land has to occupy less people so that it can accommodate more fruits and vegetables, because what is the point thereof when we have too many people instead of too many food, you know? It is those kinds of, that's why they also have to go up in the sky and occupy the space there. So there'll be dirty water pouring into those fruit and vegetables trees. Yeah, dirty water, sewage water, however, and then it will be these things that there are carpet trees, grapes and strawberry trees, pumpkins. Pumpkins, they are too huge. I won't put them beside the roads or next to the bushes there. But those strawberries and grapes, they'll become like Christmas tree lights. All those things that you can apply wherever you can think of putting the Christmas tree lights, because even on the walls they are actually there. Even on the parkings, on the parking stuffs, they are already everywhere. It will be those kinds of stuffs. They'll forever always be watered. It will be those kinds of vibes. Those things, they don't take more than 7 years. Note this. From now on, 2025 going forward, 2032 or 2035, those things must be done. Because those things, some of them now, as I'm talking, they can just be planted. Next day they grow. Now, not next now, this season they grow. The other ones coming up. So when they grow this time, we take out the seeds and we plant to the other sides. All of them. Like this. All countries coming out all at once. Not one contract coming out. That is why it will never make sense. Because those are the things that we don't even have to talk too much. I'll give you free water. Free water. When I give you free water, that water will come out like the firefighters' water. It will always be clean. You'll never pay water from me because I direct money. And since I direct my private schools, they'll boil for public schools because there will be kingdom schools and not public schools. So when they boil for them, I mean that I'll pay professors for those public kids, which are my kingdom kids. I'll pay for them. I'll pay for all those. You for school fees, you won't pay. Food, don't worry. All those things, they'll be fine. I have quite a lot Those are part of my kingdom's policy. It is still fine to call it like that. Otherwise, it is those kinds of stars, and forever and ever in my kingdom, even my kids, when they come across, I'll be checking how you ended up getting poorer, because it will never make sense that you are poorer and then I have. You get me? Unlike no one there. You see, otherwise, it is those kinds of stars that will be applying there. Otherwise, you'll just be refused, because honestly speaking, besides my younger age or whatever, I already ruled. You can't say I cannot rule. You get me? Yeah, you cannot. I don't know. That is why it will never make sense. That is why even when I have to show you that I can see, I'll just show you that yes, I can see, but you cannot expect me to show you what else I can see. You get me? That is why I say those things, they are Samson and Delilah stuffs. You can't ask me to. Even if you ask, don't. And when you come, don't ask me about me, because for me it is those things of Samson and Delilah stuffs. So those type of shit, those type of, I say shit because that is how it makes me feel. But those type of things, I don't expect them anywhere near me. So it is this thing that it is because Jesus Christ dark side. By the way, also that thing there, Jesus Christ, he was not white, ne? That one, I have verses that I've seen around there on YouTube, as some of these things they were showing me. It's just that I did not literally bother myself going to them and checking them, but I did not have to go and check them because they know I was going to check those faces. You get those kinds of shots, right? Yeah, it is those kinds of stuff. Which is those things that I was like, even this one, I still put it. Also that one of dissing. Those things of dissing, lyrical crime, they have to stop. It's still fine as I put it in here. It's still the same thing because it is what I had to include here. Because of those ones, there's also this thing here. I'll tell you this part why that thing of dissing, it has to stop. It is fine when they do it to themselves there, instead of those ones that are on the spotlight. Nah, I'll tell you what actually happened here. So here is what happened here. Nah? Those kinds of stuffs, this one I did not literally have to include it in this video, but it's still the same thing because I'm already in that mood already. So what is actually going on there? You see this one of dissing. There's this thing, I'll point it, ne? I'll point it. There was this time Kendrick Lamar, he dissed Drake. When he dissed Drake, I think it was a what ball, what, those kinds of stuffs. Yeah, it was those good moments times. And so that time Drake, he cried, ne? When he cried, see, look what happened there. So these things, when they did that, like, they have their own way of showing. God has his own ways of showing you, right? So what happened there? After pointing that part of Drake crying, he pointed to that part. You remember that time when Eminem he dissed Michael Jackson there, right? When he dissed Michael Jackson, that thing that he did there, it is only because of Michael Jackson. He was crying behind the scene. So whatever happened to Michael Jackson is the same thing that was happening to Drake there. It's only because of Michael Jackson, he hit himself. That is why you do not literally know how Michael Jackson passed away, if he really passed away. Because of those incidents that he was doing, eating pills, having headache and all those things. It is the same experience that Drake he was experiencing when he was crying, when he was dissed by Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar, because of it has been long since he released those kinds of albums as them, so it became that thing of him becoming a parasite so that he can get recognition, attention again. Same as that thing that Eminem did, posting attention through Michael Jackson stuff, because Michael Jackson is something that grew up struggling for those stuff. So it is a shortcut that they did. And so that shortcut, that is why he had a problem when Michael Jackson asked him to cancel that thing. And he had a problem to cancel it, and him having a problem to cancel it, it caused Michael Jackson to buy him instead so that he can keep quiet about those stuff there. Those stuff that he was talking about, referring to Michael Jackson, he was dissing him about his mask and all those kinds of stuff that you cannot actually talk about. And so those things, that is why this thing of lyrical crime, it has to stop, because of those are the stuff that it does, because those are the things that it shows that guy, he was knocking himself out when he was alone there, not knowing what happened, maybe pulling the mask off, and then because he cannot take it and he has to face that thing like that. Those kinds of stuff that you cannot literally deal with them by yourself. Even when they ask what happened, you just burst into tears without even saying it. It's those kinds of stuff there. That is why you cannot literally ask me where do I get involved in, because those stuffs, they don't have to happen. Me, it does not matter how they show me whatsoever. That is what I'm showing you there. That those things they have to stop because of those kinds of, and those things they show that they were enjoying themselves when they do those stuffs. That is why it will never make sense when they say it is entertainment. That is why it's called entertainment to them. It is what it is entertaining because of those things to them. When they have to be done to them, they really become offensive. Very, 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 very. Have you seen those kinds, especially those two? They become, special that one. It becomes very, 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 very offensive when it comes to these stuffs. Which is the same shit of him becoming the core part on that thing that happened there. I don't have a problem with those kinds, but I have a problem with those things that they have inside them, those behaviors there. Which are the stuff that have to happen here. That is why when they do those things, they don't have to attract unnecessary attention going to those ones that don't even do those stuffs. It's like they don't. It is this thing that they know how to choose their enemies. You get me? But those things they'll never make sense because those things they are the very same stuffs that there when you did those things a pure parasite indeed. It is those kinds of stuffs that those kinds of things that I just don't want to talk bad about these stuffs. You get me? I can talk too much bad about these things. I can talk shit, I can this, I can do those things, I can do all those things. It's just that I don't want to tolerate those kinds of vibes. You get me? Yeah, because they quite annoying. You get me? Yeah. Because I prefer to just remain calm and not peddlers if there's a need to. But those things they have to stop, which is that thing that I'm proving to you that thing is a crime. It is a crime indeed. Because of those actions that happen. That thing, whenever your money gets drained out from your account, you have to cry. You get me? That thing is that thing that you cannot is starting the other one. You get me? Yeah. Lyrically. That is why it is a lyrical crime. Those things, worse, they sting too much than actions. They sting too much. Stings too much. You'll wish that they, even it's like a slap compared to a fist. A slap it stings too much than a fist. It is those kinds of stuffs. That is why those things they hit and depress you and give you all those kinds of stuffs. Because that is where those things they lead. It just depends on if you are strong enough or not. You get me? Otherwise, that is my problem with those kinds there. Yeah, I think here I spoken more than enough here. Yeah, the rest will just follow along if they are to follow along. But me here, I came here for this thing of yes or no. Even if you say no, maybe you just say no and not give reasons. I don't literally expect to give you reasons, you to give me reasons, but there's no reason for me not to become a king here because I also was digging this thing so that they help me, so that I can prove indeed to you that this thing they did happen. Right. That is why the only thing here, it will be this thing that maybe I might just show you that indeed I can see, not what I can see. You get me? Not that indeed I can talk to God. It will never make sense. And here's this thing. Me, I know very well that I have more than my seeings with me here. You get me? Yeah. There are other things that were helping me because I literally had them. But I'm not going to bother to invite you in those kinds of stuff because there's no need to. You get me? Yeah, it is those kinds of stuff. But my seeings, there was this thing that they did ask me literally to give them something, to thank them for something. To thank them, you get me? But I won't literally even tolerate those guys because I don't like it when people are in my things. You get? I don't like it when my things are all over around, they're scattered. You get me? Especially when a lot they think they're like this. You get me? Yeah, they bought those things. And so when it is like this, I will actually show you that I can see. When I show you that I can see all those things here, I think they will be fine because them they ask me something when they ask me something I know and I for me it was this thing that it was for those stuff there. But I don't want you to make it look like it's an issue just because I didn't show you those other stuff. That is why you don't believe. You get me? I don't like to prove myself when there's no need to. You hear me? They really bore me those. I don't like those stuffs. You get me? Otherwise, as long as I can see that you didn't understand, it's fine. But it's just that I don't like to be fucked with. I've been fucked with too much. That's why I don't even want you to ask me that because you think you'll also fuck with me and then Samson and Delilah. not my eyes coming out. Then yeah, I think that is all from this video here. Yeah, otherwise, cheers. There's also this video that I'll just be talking about how all these incidents that were happening from the start until now, but it will just be a few minutes too. Otherwise, cool.